I'm on, Patrick.
Hi.
Hi.
Listen, I haven't seen you all day, but this is great. We're back to root use.
hmm
I miss this. You being here in the office is great.
I haven't seen you. I saw Ted briefly. He hugged me. He was leaving to go to Indianapolis. I haven't seen you or Clayton today. So, Root community, believe it or not, even though we're in the same office and we're all very close, we're like a family, we don't always see each other. And that's something people don't realize because we're all over. I think Clayton is at a meeting somewhere in Nashville, hopefully, who knows, right, Patrick?
Who
But
knows?
Ted's in Indianapolis, and I'm so thankful to be home. Even though I loved seeing everyone going on these trips. I have to say, because most of the people from Kosovo and Macedonia and Turkey aren't on these calls. But if you guys are, I wish we could highlight you all because I had, and Zurich, just this last round of trips and the trips before when Stephanie and Henrik and all of the groups did the route meetings. It was just pretty phenomenal. And for those of you that saw me in Germany and then later saw me in Zurich, I felt much better by the end of the 8 weeks because I was basically traveling for 8 weeks. We knew as a company it was going to be 2 months, basically nonstop travel. And we're so thankful we got to see so many amazing people and have so many great discussions, like being able to sit with you all. I think probably my favorite thing, and I just want to say this because I'm always talking science, but my favorite thing was getting to sit
I
with
was
you
mentioned.
all. What was that, Patrick?
Somebody didn't mute. I got him.
Okay. My favorite thing was getting ready to, I didn't know if it was a question, to connect with you guys and just sit and talk and get to know people or see the people that I knew and just hang out. And it was amazing. And I really appreciated the time with you guys it was pretty incredible. And I don't want to ever take for granted that we get to see each other and hug each other and talk because every day is such a gift. And one of the things that I really took away from Kosovo, working with the Madam President there, and thank you to Erica West and to Leo and Dope for setting up those meetings with the president. She was such a phenomenal person. But being able to go to the cancer clinics with the children and work with the oncologist and hematologist was amazing. And then going and working with the women, that even though they had gone through war and even though they had suffered a lot of abuse, they were so grateful. They left behind the bitterness, and truly they were examples for me because I'm always looking for examples where I can be a better person and I can learn from someone else. And being able to be around these amazing people that have gone through so much, but they still have love and they still have hope and they still have the fact that they care about each other and they've let go of the bitterness. It was just, I felt like God was speaking to me. I felt like he was telling me, Christina, you've got to understand what's so important, and you have to understand how grateful you should be and how thankful you should be, no matter how hard it gets, because life isn't easy. I think that's one of the things. God never promised us we'd have an easy life. And when you get to be a little older than me, like Regina, and she's not that much older than me, just a little bit, she can tell you, it's a path that we all go through, and life isn't always easy. But seeing these people, and even I want to speak to you guys, Dallas with the Detox Girls and Kristen and Jill and Shauna and all of you guys that have worked so hard. Now we are doing wholesale, going into doctor clinics. I'm going to tell you guys what we're doing because this is so exciting to me. We finally are starting all these groups where they're buying our product from Root, from an ambassador, with the group purchasing their wholesale contracts. And we're doing the stickers. And I'm going to just say this, kudos to Patrick and Duquesne and Dylan and Sam. And I could go on and on, our whole group, because all of these things we're doing take so much time. and so much detail that is phenomenal that we actually have created a company where we're now working with these major doctors across the world and really implementing these into offices and working through ambassadors. So I want to say a special thank you to all of you guys that have really helped this set up, whether you did the Germany event and you brought your positive energy and your warm hearts there, or whether you were in Texas or Kosovo or Macedonia or Turkey or Dubai. All of the work you guys are doing is absolutely phenomenal. I know the Root community went through a lot, right, over the last year. Let's acknowledge that. Let's take a minute to acknowledge that as a group, and then acknowledge that in life, once you get through something, it's your opportunity to even be better and to be a much better light for the world. And I really do feel like that's what you guys have done. I give so much credit to your spirits, your souls, your hearts. And before we jump into the science, I just want to say the human energy, the human spirit, the human soul is the most important energy anyone can have. It's actually worth more than any kind of oil, any kind of gas, any kind of hydrogen, nitrogen, anything. It's you all. It's your energy. And that's what's created it. And I know I keep telling you all this, but I really want you to know that it's growing, it's strong. And you guys have really done that. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for that. We are going to talk a little bit about the peptides today. I feel like I've just been talking peptides wherever I've gone because it's such a huge topic. Even when I met with, for example, Mandan President, she loves Reno and loves the skincare, but I was telling her about the peptide line and how you need to have these building blocks. And I'm going to say this before we start because we had questions on where the peptides come from. So I tried to implement some of this into the slides. I'm not here to be a science teacher or to teach everyone how to make products every day, but I think it's important to be educated. So a couple of things I want to clear up that I'm going to address today. I am going to show some of the certifications because we have batch testing and the highest quality certification available in North America for our labels, our sourcing, our products, our ingredients, our manufacturing process, and all of that I think is available on the Root site or somewhere, right, Patrick? The certifications?
Yes, the BSCG certifications are available on the back office documents.
Right. So every time someone tries to talk to me about legally what the company should do, or from a registration certification, in all respect to all the ambassadors in the Root community, probably our biggest expense at this company is legal and registration and compliance. We have great attorney teams all over the world because we're not just a company in the United States, we're all over. And so we have to follow all these rules. Some countries want you to put calories on the label. Some countries want you to leave them off and just put key, basically recommended daily allowances. And because we're in so many countries, we try to incorporate that. But you'll be able to see that we do have certification on Give Me Back My Youth. It's a debate whether we need to put that on the label. We have the labels the way they are. We received the highest certification. We will add the calories. This is like a, how do I say this? The collagen colostrum are like a skinny collagen and colostrum because of how they were made and how it was sequenced and how I absolutely took out the ingredients that I felt like didn't need to be in there and kept the ingredients and the properties. And I say properties because everything that is sourced has different properties, and that means it has different characteristics. I always, because of the lectin patents that I wrote, I always try to do a process where we're cleaning out every vitamin and mineral, and we're cleaning out every plant, seed, oil, bean, and everything I can get my hands on. And it does make it a little bit different. That's why on Clean Slate, I clean the zeolite, I pull the silica out, and then I have the trace minerals and I have the vitamins. And a lot of people don't understand the label, but it's because I have to take what I do in the process, take it to the different countries and the registration and the compliance, and then we come up with what the label should look like. So we appreciate your guidance. Please continue to reach out to Patrick if you have questions on that, or Duquesne or Dylan, but we will continue to follow the government's, the legal guidelines, the certification requirements for each country, and be the amazing company that we are. So again, we appreciate your advice, but we have to continue to follow the guidelines that are set by countries. The other thing is, for the peptides, we're going to go over how I'm sourcing those. So just before we get into this, aminos and peptides come from plants. They can come from animals, but I sourced sequencing of plants. And actually, if you look at everything that I do, I use hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen. I use gas, water, soil, everything I can touch that's natural, and cleaning it to produce what we really need. So aminos actually can come out of the soil or water or air, and different components of that. And again, this is a much bigger scientific discussion than we're going to have on Root U, but I wanted you guys to know that. Are we going to give away exactly how I make each peptide? No, but I will briefly go over it so you guys can understand it. And then if I want to answer questions that I feel like are not showcasing what we can't tell, then I will. So I want you guys to know I will give complete visibility into the areas that I can. And then otherwise, everything will be left to registration and compliance in the label. So let's get started. You guys saw me kind of present in person the peptides, and then I know I recorded it, but I really wanted to bring home to you guys how important I feel like Crush is, along with Sculpt, because I really don't feel like I discussed that as much. When we launched Sculpt, I started talking about Crush. And if Patrick remembers, and I'm sure he does, we were trying to figure out how we were going to roll these out, right? I really wanted to, and I don't know if he does remember this, I wanted to roll those both out together, because the goal was to block the sugar and carbs. That was my goal as a scientist. It wasn't even the weight loss as much as I want people's bodies to be healthier. I want the bodies to work. I understand the microbiome. I understand sugar and carbs and lipids and how they interrupt with cycles and how they can cause cancer. And I guess this is a good time for the medical disclaimer. Yes, I have multiple PhDs and doctorate degrees. I even have a medical degree from Kesman University in Africa, but I'm not here to be your doctor. I'm not here to tell you or claim that everything we have here or anything we have here is going to cure something or solve your illnesses. We are here to talk as people that understand health and wellness and how we can use different things to hopefully have the greatest life possible without claiming anything. And I want to make sure that you guys know that. I try to make sure that we don't have case studies that talk about treating, diagnosing, mitigating, or preventing or curing a disease, but instead just show facts of what's happening in people's lives. That's why I just want you guys to know, I love the videos where you show how you're cleaning your face, or I love the before and after pictures without making claims, so that we can really tell our story to the world about how great Root is and how these products are really incorporating our lives to be the best we can be. But I want to make sure that we continue as a company to be diligent about the fact that we can't claim to cure or treat anything. We are here to support people to be as great as they can be. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so introducing this plant-based peptide line, I think, is really important. Let's go to the next slide. I want to talk about skin health. I just gave a talk in Denver. I flew from Zurich to New York to Denver, and then drove to Boulder, Colorado on my way back from Europe. I did talks on how we really embrace the way we look as we age. And I kept going back to, it has to start from the inside of your body, which is why I wanted to tell you guys, I think it's very important that if you are attempting to make your skin look as healthy as it can be, if your goal is to look and feel as great as you can, for me personally, the peptides, starting with Crush, are extremely important. Being a person that was a cancer survivor and still am, I understand that in order for my immune system to work effectively, whether it's my skin and the immune system and the microbiome around my skin or the internal part of my body, and yes, that is a thing, just so everyone knows, your immune system encompasses everything about you, and your skin is your largest organ, so it includes that. We've really, really got to build the blocks of our body so it can fight things that shouldn't be in our body. Everybody thinks of peptides, guys, or aminos as bodybuilding. I know, for example, Dylan and Patrick have really been into that because they work out. They really care about biohacking. They care about their lives. But I think something that we don't talk about enough, if you use the right types of amino acids and peptides, and you use these in your skin and in the inside of your body, you are creating a foundation for your body to be stronger and to look healthier and feel healthier. And I believe I am healthier since I've started using this. These people say to me, you're human, there's no way you can keep traveling like this. And here's my answer. You're right, but when I use the products that we actually have, all of us, in our toolkit, I am able to do things that I feel like most people can't, not because I'm superhuman, but because I'm taking care of my body, even though I've had cancer, even though I've had Lyme disease, even though I was diagnosed at one point with rheumatoid arthritis and Crohn's and all these other things, just like you all, because let's all be honest, that's why we're into health. Either we or our family have had health issues, and that's driven us to really care, to ask the questions, what's in the peptides, to ask how many calories. The reason we're really asking is because we care, because we understand if our health is taken away, then we're not going to do very well in this life, right? So the skin health for me is really important. And I want to talk a little bit about how you create these building blocks of protein. Collagen, elastin, keratin are crucial to the skin's structure and function. However, you can't just put collagen on the skin and all of a sudden you created the building blocks. You've got to really use these amino acids and peptides to create a foundation so you can build upon it with the vitamins and minerals. And that's why when I talk about Reno, I say to you guys, Reno has the phytoplanktons and the vitamins and minerals your skin really needs, but you got to have the building blocks with the peptides. I think that's why all these women that have tried the peptide line are loving it, right? I think they're seeing a combination of the peptides in the Reno and Crush and the other different formulas that you're using to really create this change, and people are feeling amazing about it. I want you to know that the peptides I use, I'm using from plants. You can get them from different sources. I do incorporate, like I said, water. I incorporate different types of water, different types of hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen in the process when I'm developing these. I have the manufacturing plants go through a series of things, so the sequencing is working together so we can create a formulation that really helps the skin work in a more productive way by targeting different things. So proteins go through an enzymic, I never say it right, hydrolysis. So it's enzymes, right? Don't laugh at me, Patrick. So I can't say the word. I have a speech impediment, but it's really important for you guys to understand that these natural peptides that I'm using are actually released from plant cells. So when people say peptides are from genes, there's some truth to that, right? There is truth to that, because you're basically taking the plant cells and you're kind of taking it out like you would a stem cell, right? And I think that's what probably Patrick understands, and Dylan, it is kind of a type of stem cell. It is. It's just from a plant, right? And you can do that from animals as well. But because of me choosing, and because I had the lectin patents, the plants were what I chose to make these. And I use different fruits, vegetables, oils, plants. I did use a few specific types of beans. So if that's a concern with people, then maybe they shouldn't use it on their skin. But I wanted to make sure you guys know I'm not changing the peptides. It took 2 years to really be able to source things that governments wouldn't pull all over the world, because some of the governments went in and started getting rid of peptides that you could use. So initially, just so everyone knows, When I started, it was much different. And then the government started pulling these and saying you can't put these into products. So I was really careful to look at what do I think I can produce for the next 2 years that we can help people's skin, as well as with Crush, we can help the internal part of their body because they're all connected. When you put something on this, it's going into your skin within 2 minutes to 15 minutes, you guys. It's actually going in, everything you put in. That's why makeup is so important. If you're not using something that's natural, you just have to understand you're putting a synthetic. Everyone worries about pharmaceutical products because they have synthetics. Please worry about what you're putting on your skin. Please
That's so
worry.
crazy to me. It just clicked for me when you said where you sourced from plants because of the lectin patent for these products. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because I'm really careful when I go, which is why, you know, at the end of this month, we're taking over manufacturing. Because when I leave a manufacturer, unless I have someone like, unless it's Patrick or Clayton or Ted or one of you all that knows how important it is every step, even though we test everything, even though we get certification, I really want to understand that we have the best products and I need to have my hands on it the whole time. So I can understand and so I can look at you all and you know what you're putting on your skin every second is so important. The collagen for ladies out there and men that are aging, collagen is so important to your skin. People do fillers all the time because they really want collagen. Between Give Me Back My Youth and Crush and Sculpt and Immune Defense Shield with the NAD and the quercetin and then the peptide brand and Reno, the overall goal is to create these building blocks that are pure, that can help your body, understanding that since you were born, unfortunately, our world has had so many toxins and so many things in it that the vitamins and minerals and the plants and the seeds are still toxic, even though we think they're organic. So it was a huge thing for me to be able to do that, to be able to produce it, and to be able to give to people something that I really felt like could provide a building block to not just say this person looks better. The goal was this person needs to feel better and needs to be healthier by protecting and creating these barriers. The serum for me is huge. I'm going to tell you guys, when I went, if you pull the pictures and the videos from me being in Germany to me today, or me in Zurich, you're going to notice a huge difference. And I want to explain that. And I kind of said this when I was in Schweinfurt. I ran out of the peptides. I had what I had made, and then we had to go into mass production. I ran out of the peptides. I was trying some other stuff. I got the peptides when I went back and I had them in Schweinfurt. When I first started using the peptides, my skin started looking kind of oily because it was really starting to provide these building blocks. By the time I got to Zurich, my skin had adjusted and my skin actually looks considerably better now than it did when I wasn't using them. So I have people asking me, can you take a break from the peptides? The answer is yes, I had to because I ran out, right? When I took a break, I used other things. If you ask me, when I went back to the peptides, did I notice that it worked even better? Yes. So I want to explain this to you all. If you decide to use the peptides and then one day you don't use it and you use the tea mist and the phytoplankton, it's okay. You can switch it up. Remember me telling you all that your skin and your body are so smart, but viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungus, insects are smart too. We've got to change it up, which is why you have a 3-step system that's addressing all these things for your skin. And you also have the phytoplankton because your peptides and aminos come with all this nutrient-rich ingredients. However, you need more of a foundational piece to make sure you're getting everything in your skin along with that. So it activates more. And so you create an even better barrier and to protect the skin, as well as you're creating an environment where the skin can thrive. Any of you guys that have rashes, or you have eczema, or you have issues with your hair and hair loss and different things like that, there is a component of that that has to do with the peptides aren't working in your body. I'm just going to tell you guys that. The other component is the nutrients, the vitamins, and your minerals in your body are not working either. So remember when I discussed clean slate and clean spirits and how you have to clean the body so it can communicate and start building again and working, right? That's why all the products together are important. For those of you that decide to change the sequencing, and when I say sequencing, to change your routine during some days, it's okay. So when you ask me, Christina, when do you use the peptides? When do you use Reno? I'm going to be completely honest. On some weeks, I might use all of the products we have that whole week. Then the next week, I might say, I'm going to use the phytoplankton today and the serum and the cleanser. I'm not going to use the moisturizer. Why would I do that? I'm doing that because, again, I want to make my skin smarter than a virus or a parasite or a bacteria. And that means I have to think like those things think. And the reason bacteria and viruses and parasites are successful, or fungus, is because they switch up their routine, they mutate. We as humans have to be smart. As a female, I have to be smart about my skin. And so if you ask me my true secret, and I've had people ask me a lot, it's that I follow a routine, but sometimes I switch it up. So I'm going to let you guys ask questions on that at the end, so that we can kind of role play, so that you guys understand that even more. But if you look at this, you can see that the witch hazel, the aloe vera, the amino acids, the peptides, or maybe you can't see, but I want you to know, the oils, even the vegetable glycerin. Yes, I had people ask me about this. I understand some people don't like glycerin. The vegetable glycerin was cleaned, and then I'm using it in the serum. Probably my favorite serum I've ever used. I'm just being honest. I love this serum. I notice a huge difference when I use it on my neck and my chest and my hands. It's just phenomenal in my opinion. And so I did really lean on different botanical sources, but I also, in the process, just so you guys know, there's different types of water and hydrogen and frequencies being used that have to do with our earth. I'm trying to bring all this back to nature so that we really can create something that's protecting us against the things that shouldn't be on the outside or inside of our body. Let's go to the next slide. So here's your ingredients. And I do know that a lot of you guys don't understand like the different peptides and where they come from. And that's why I'm making sure you understand when you see that on there, there is the ability to source it from unnatural sources. That's not what I did. I'm not using human stem cells for this. I'm using plant-based so that we can really use it in our skin and ship all over the world. Otherwise, we'd be in a much different scenario. We do have plans in root, and Patrick's aware of this, doing stem cells, B cells, exosomes with some of the root ambassadors in the clinics that you guys have, as well as some that we're going to set up in the United States as well as internationally. But to be able to do a nutraceutical that we know can go in and out of countries, I use plant-based products. And if there was anything that I used that had any component that was considered negative for the skin, I went through a cleaning process so that the skin would be protected and all synthetics were taken out. Let's go to the next slide. So the label, and I say this constantly, I like labels where I only have like 5 or 6 ingredients on them, like Restore or Clean Slate. But for these particular products, I really needed to use a lot of different things because I'm pulling out the vitamins and minerals. I'm pulling out all the components and characteristics that I really feel like the skin needs to create a structure, like I said, that's not just going to make people look beautiful. I'm really going to the health of the skin. The goal here is to get rid of anything that shouldn't be in the skin, and then to provide the skin with really what it needs to create that foundation so you can build upon it. And to do that, there were different scientific methods that I used in the manufacturing process that are patent patented and patent pending. So you've got both of those. We will be adding that to the label so that people understand the patent. Patrick, that's something we've really got to do with everything. We have to make sure that you guys understand that it is patented in the United States. Let's go to the next slide. If you guys noticed, I added black cumin seed. Anyone that has followed me for the last 20 years knows that I really like black cumin seed and turmeric, curcumin, resveratrol, aloe vera. There's certain key components that you see me use over and over, but I switched it up a bit too. I wanted to really focus on not just enhancing the ability for the skin to produce collagen. I felt like people thought when they took Give Me Back My Youth, it was helping their skin, hair, and nails. And there's a truthful component to that, absolutely. But to provide it into the outside of the skin, because you're already approaching it from the inside with Crush and Give Me Back My Youth and Immune Defense Shield and Clean Slate. But on the outside, I wanted to create this smoothness, but also the barrier and the hydration, so that basically my goal was to repel anything negative. And I want to say this again. If you look at my patents under permeable and semi-permeable, and you say, what is the goal of that? It is to repel. So like if you have part of the goal, if you have an insect like a mosquito or a flea or a tick, what do you want to do? You want to repel it. You don't want it to bite you. You don't want it on your skin. So here's what I'm here to tell you guys. If you look at the whole skincare line with Skin Defense and Environ and the tea mist and phytoplankton with the Reno and then all of this, the goal is to help the skin, but to repel the viruses, bacteria, insects, the fungus that could go in. Everyone's worried about a mask or people's eyes. What about the skin? They can enter the skin. So this is a protective barrier. And you say to me, Christina, you just came up with 6 things that are here to protect our skin. Yeah, because there's thousands of things when you walk outside or even when you use water on your face that disrupt the way we are meant to be as far as our skin protection. And that's why these things had to be really produced. Now, was the goal also to aid in wrinkles and fine lines? Absolutely. Was the goal also to make sure that the redness in the skin basically went down and there was a firmness and elasticity? Absolutely. But again, the other benefits of this is to really provide this barrier so it repels things that shouldn't go into the skin. Let's go on to the next slide. The cleanser is probably one of my favorites. And if anyone ever saw me talk about this in Germany, I said, this is something people don't understand. Usually people use a cleanser and they think, well, this is just something to get rid of what shouldn't be on my skin to clean it. That's not what this cleanser is. This is a cleanser that further puts into the skin things like black cumin seed oil after you've used it. Needle leaf, burdock root. I really took a lot of roots, plants, oils, and vitamins to really not just clean the skin, guys, because it says cleanser, but to provide this actual balance that would make the skin really look and feel better. And that was the goal. It wasn't just to clean the skin. This was something that I felt like was extremely important for people that have acne, for people that have issues with their skin. This is a fundamental piece that I think you need to add to your routine. Let's go to the next slide. So going back to this, one of the things I worked with in my career has been hemp seed oil, cannabis, different things. We have to be careful what we put into our bodies. This is a natural component where I took out the component that will really help the skin heal and help better. We understand now there's certain types of CBD and cannabis that can help even with tumors, right? So my goal was create something in this actual line that's going to really replenish the skin, even though it's called a cleanser. And I feel like I was able to really accomplish that. I know there's some people that will criticize some of the acids that were used in this. I'm going to say this again, these were cleaned. And then I used the component that I felt like was good for the skin, taking out the component that wasn't. Let's go on to the next slide. I feel like this is kind of the key to everything we do. You know, you've got a lot of scientists, a lot of competitors that you guys work with that are asking questions because they Google something or they look it up. Let me use an example. MCT oil. MCT oil is actually good for people, right? But there's certain types of MCT oil, if you cook with it, it can actually make a tumor grow, right? Both ways. You have to have a scientist and you have to have a company that understands how to make this so that it's really helping your body and not doing something negative. For almost every ingredient out there in the world, there can be a reaction or they can be something negative that can happen. So you can't just Google things and read everything and think that's what these products do. This product is really there to clean. And again, it's really replenishing, even though it's called a cleanser. Let's go to the next slide. So the benefit is the deep cleaning, but if you look at this, you can see the purification, the radiance, the anti-aging, the hydration, the soothing of the skin. All of these were targets and goals. It was not simply a cleanser. I did want to make sure we're deep cleaning to get rid of anything that shouldn't be in there. I am a huge person against fungus and parasites. I think everyone knows that, which is why I didn't just put that in the patents that I've written. I also even put insects. Because if you look at even the animal products, the ability to really repel some of those things is huge. Einstein went away again to Lisa Kreitz and he lost his hair. He came back and Alona started putting Restore and Clean Slate and Kodo. It wasn't Clean Slate, Clean Pets and Kodo on Einstein. And Patrick can tell you now all of his hair is growing back again. So dogs can't lie, right? People ask me all the time about hair. And here's my comment. A lot of hair loss is from things like alopecia or autoimmune disorders. But if you can get your body back in sync and then also apply things to your scalp, like what we do to animals, you will see some major changes. And again, Einstein can't lie, right? We see what we see. If his hair grows, it grows. If it doesn't, like, and Patrick will testify to this, everyone in this office will. When he leaves, he comes back and it's like his hair's horrible. He stays and he has our products and he flourishes again. Let's go on to the next.
And he gets mean too. He gets meaner.
You know what? He just needs to stay here and he needs to start doing his Bill and Coo. Like, where's our Bill and Coo? I don't even think Millie's been on our Bill and Coo podcast. So we got to get the dogs back on the podcast so that we can all see how wonderful our animals are doing on these products. I don't want to go over time, so I'm going to be really quick. Again, this is a moisturizer, guys. Love the moisturizer. It did make my skin a little oily when I started using it again, and then it started working beautifully. I will say, though, some of the reason my skin gets disrupted is when you're on a plane. I counted 1 week. I was on a plane for 70 hours, I think. I was trying to count the hours because we had gone to Dubai. So Patrick, that includes like our layovers, but I was like, this is not natural for my skin. And I started thinking, you know, this is like, I think my skin would look so much better if I wasn't always on the plane. But if I didn't have the moisturizer and I didn't have the serum, for me, the travel I've done, my skin would look really bad right now. It doesn't, because I was able to use it. I did use a lot of tea leaf in this. I used a lot of oils. I did use a lot of juices. I was really trying to retain the moisture and to help the texture of the skin. A lot of people, so I just saw the comment about the peptides. Peptides going into the eyes. By the way, there are peptides that you can use in your eyes. If you ask me if these peptides would hurt your eyes, I mean, there's some things in here that I wouldn't naturally use on my eyes, like glycerin and stuff like that. And some of the acid will really hurt your eyes. There's a lot of the peptides that are okay. It just depends. And so we have to put on all of our labels, and everyone does when they use peptides, that you can't put it directly into the eye. Let's go on to the next slide. Again, moisturizer is one of my favorite. I have to add this to any of you guys that care about fungus and parasites. The reason I added black cumin seed to most of everything was to make sure I'm protecting against that. I wanted to make sure while people traveled, I feel like it's almost an epidemic right now. There's so much fungus, there's so much parasites. I thought that when everything happened 4 years ago, and we're seeing it now. So the goal of this moisturizer, I really did want something that would help with the aging and the skin repair, but really the protection and the barrier is another goal of this. What's so great about it is I've noticed a huge difference in the texture and the smoothness, but I want to say this. When I look at my skin now, I'm thinking, well, I'm taking Sculpt, I'm taking Crush, All of you guys that are worried because I've lost weight, just so you know, I've lost weight because I'm working out again. I'm taking Sculpt, I'm taking Crush. And when you travel this much, you don't have a lot of time to eat. But the whole thing is my body just needs to be healthy. It doesn't really matter what I weigh. It matters that I'm a healthy weight, that I can take care of my body. And that's like a 10-pound fluctuation for me. I am a healthy weight right now. I was a healthy weight, just so everyone knows, about 4 weeks ago. There is some fluctuation. Peptides have a lot to do with that, though. Like, I look like I'm working out a lot, and I just started working out more recently because I'm feeling so much better. But I look like I'm working out more because I'm taking the peptides. So peptides, think about this, guys. When you take a peptide, Patrick, I know you can think about this. You look better, right?
Mhm.
Same applies to the skin. You're providing the building blocks. You're working your skin out, so it looks a lot better. And that's really where the moisturizer and the serum step in. They're really working the skin out so that it can look better than it did before you guys use the product. Let's go on. There are some negatives to certain kinds of peptide lines. We have not, this is really different for us. We have not had complaints. If we have, I haven't seen them. I'm sure there will be some people at some point. It's like anything, even black cumin seed can cause that, or turmeric curcumin, or spirulina, which is probably why Verena was asking the question. Some people can have a reaction. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you're worried about the peptides and a reaction, then start on the inner side of your wrist and use it here, or you can also use it here and try it for a couple of days. And if you're going to have a reaction, you'll see it there. Now, I will say this, like if you looked at my chest right now, I'm trying to see, I have a pimple right here. I shouldn't even be taught. And one right here. I'm not upset at all because I understand it's not a rash, right? My skin is starting to produce, and I want that because I don't want a skin of someone in their 50s. I want my skin to feel and look like someone in their 20s. And that's the truth. Do I care that I'm aging? Not a bit. But it's kind of like what Regina told me. You don't want, and I'm sorry I'm using you a lot today, Regina, you don't want your arms, right? You want your arms to look like you have muscle. So it takes a while. When people ask me about Crush, I use 3 times the amount of Crush that I used to use, just like Clay does. I mean, because for me, I need more. And I think it's because I'm older. And I think it's because I travel so much, or maybe I just need more. When we did the samples for Crush, I had to be really, I don't know if everyone knows this, I had to be very, very careful. So I did the lowest dose possible to see how people were going to handle it. And a lot of people are using a lot more of that particular product. Again, boosting the immune system, helping with antioxidants, helping with inflammation. Crush is doing that on the inside, while the peptide skincare product is doing that on the outside. And they both work synergetically together so that they're complementing each other throughout the body. Let's go to the next slide. I think this is so great. So amino acids consist of a carbon atom, and there's 4 different chemical groups. And that's why I talked about a little bit earlier. You can get it from nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen. You get it from the soil, the water, the air, from different frequencies. And I'm incorporating all of that. I have so many people ask me, Christina, do you use frequencies? Well, that's what I am. I'm a nanobiotechnologist that uses magnets and polarizations and frequencies and water and different types of movement and sound to really work together. It's hard when I discuss this because in my mind, it's just beautiful music, right? We're producing this beautiful music in a formula that people are putting into their bodies. Scientifically, it's really hard sometimes because when you look at like an IL-2, IL-4, P450 system, and you look at all the ligaments and the neurotransmitters and the oxygen, the air, the blood, all of that is a story. It's a city inside your body. But truly, Crush and the peptides, if you can give your body what it needs to make all of those things work together and be stronger, it's phenomenal. And I think that's why using that incorporated with the NAD, with immune defense shield, with the cleaning process of clean slate is so, so integral and so important to your whole bodies. And that's why you notice so many people having such huge differences. Let's go on to the next slide. So these are the references, and I don't know, Patrick, if Stephanie put the certificates. I wanted her to put the, she may not have included it in the deck. I want to make sure that they see the batch records, the labels, and how we received the highest certification. I think most people know about it, but that way when they ask questions about labels and they ask questions about what's in our products, they understand. To be able to get the certification, to be able to even go into the UAE and Canada and Australia and Turkey, pick a country, we have to redo this each time. I mean, Patrick knows we have to send all of our documentation, all of the information, and I'm really proud of how hard we've worked and what we've done to do that. It's not me, it's this whole team. Another thing I'm really proud of, because I was at a biohacking conference and we had these great panels where everyone was speaking. They had their different supplement lines, different skincare lines. And it was a comment that was made on a panel. And I told Patrick about this yesterday, that the problem is when you have supplements and nutraceutical lines, there's not white papers, there's not literature reviews, there's no case studies, there's not any research. And I stopped the panel and said, I don't agree. We have all this at our company. We have the white papers, the literature review, the case studies. We're not claiming any of those. We're reporting data because the world deserves to see the data from what you guys are doing. And so we're showcasing that. They disagreed with me. They said, unless you are a pharmaceutical product, you don't have that information, but we do. So we need to be proud of it. I just reviewed 36 white papers, literature reviews that are now in different scientific journals. I want everyone to have access so that you can understand scientifically what these products do. I don't want you to use the information to make a claim. There's one, I say this constantly, a doctor is not going to cure someone. A pharmaceutical product isn't either. And honestly, a nutraceutical can help protect and help the body, but it isn't either. God is the only one that can do that. We all go through a different journey. Our journey, though, here is so that we can do the best we can in our life and help the world the best that we can. Here's the Crush certification. And if you look at this, it shows the finished products are tested. And this is a completely different testing than what we have done in the clean rooms and in each manufacturing. In every manufacturing, I require a report where we look at, and we have, whenever we want, everything that is in that product, any bacteria, any heavy metal, anything that's there, I want to see a report. And if it's not as good as it needs to be, then we redo the report and the lot number, right? But it was really important for us to look over the labels, look over the heavy metals, the microbial agents, the pesticides, the solvents, make sure that our labels were accurate. We had to provide proof that we got rid of the things we said we got rid of. We had to provide proof on anything that was in it to show there weren't pesticides or solvents, and we received the highest accredited rating that you could get. We have this for Give Me Back My Youth. We have it for all of the products. We're going into testing in the skincare so we can make sure we have it on this new line. This is an extra step that most people don't take. This is not the only testing we have, but it is additional testing that we send off to a third party. We also provide this to the different countries, to lawyers, to regulatory branches, and everything else. So I wanted you guys to know that. I wanted you to feel safe in what you're taking and what you're doing and understand the different steps that we're taking. I say this constantly, when you go and you buy a product in a store, you have no idea. You buy vitamin D, for example, holds on to heavy metals and pesticides. And if you take a vitamin D that has a good rating, but it has all of that in it, then that's a problem. And I can tell you this, vitamin C is the same way. That's why when we first launched Clean Slate, everyone was worried about where I sourced vitamin C. And I think that's because there's not an understanding of what I'm doing with the vitamin C and how I'm making the product. But I want this community to understand. I do think we have 4 or 5 minutes, Patrick. So if we want to take a few questions, we can. But before we do that, I do want to ask, are we still doing videos and contests, or where are we with all of that as far as the community?
We ended up the Ella Pure contest last week. We had 3 awesome winners where we gave them some really good $500, $300, and $100 gift boxes. Monica actually was the one. So it was people were sharing videos on social media, and we're going to have another one start again in November that I'm trying to work on Kreider with, that Kreider came up with.
Great. That's awesome. We're going to try to do more and more contests. I want to make this fun. I think one of the things in life is that you got to make it exciting. There's enough hard things that we go through. We've got to have a fun time doing what we're doing. So that is phenomenal. My other question before we take a question from the group is, I know Dr. Ann is thinking about doing a root use. So we have translators, right, Patrick, that she could have translate if she did it in her language. Okay.
Absolutely.
So Dr. Ann, I'm going to contact you so we can do that as well. Any of you guys that have the case studies, we're getting more and more of those. Please continue to send those so that we can track them and document. And then let's open it up for a couple of questions, Patrick, before I get off.
Go ahead and raise your hand if you have any questions so we can unmute you.
Are we good?
Yeah, I guess we're good.
That makes me happy, but I also am happy when you guys ask questions. So whatever's best for you guys. When you have a science question, please make sure that you send it directly to the science chat, just because some people in the silver group don't, you guys are on these all the time, but some people aren't, and they get confused about it. Like I was in Kosovo and I had some questions because there's things are lost in translation too, I think, sometimes in those groups. And I don't want you guys to ever think I'm trying to avoid you or I'm not giving you answers, because I try my best to do that.
Claire, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Which is the best product and how much should you use? Because I have lip lines, because I smoked for a lot of years and I quit in 2018. But I still have lip lines left over from when I smoked. So which would be the best to use for that? Thank you.
The serum is the best to use for that. The moisturizer is good too, but the serum is the best. So if you have those, I would focus on that. And then the phytoplankton that's in Reno can help rebuild that, because you're going to try to not erase it, but kind of, you want to provide a much, basically you're providing a surface. I do want to tell you guys this because I haven't mentioned this enough. I use Clean Slate and Restore. I know some of you guys know that, on my face, right? Huge difference for me. I don't want you guys to forget that. Like if I have wrinkles, I just want everyone to know I'm using Clean Slate on the wrinkles. Why? Because I'm trying to detox that whole area and then replenish it and rebuild it. So I've got to clean it first. So Clean Slate around my eyes and around my mouth. And then I use everything I can. I'm the same like you all. I'm at my age, I have the same thing. So I really do notice a huge difference when I do the Clean Slate and Restore at least once a week. But Clean Slate, I try to use almost every day, either at night or in the morning on the wrinkles. The problem with Clean Slate is if you use it under makeup, sometimes it will create, it's not as smooth, and it'll start, you can see during the day. If anyone ever sees my skin, kind of looking different during the day and kind of flaking, it's because I'm using Clean Slate and Restore, and then I've added extra Clean Slate. I don't care, because it's kind of like a face peel for me. But the serum has helped a lot with my skin. So that's really what you want to double down on. The moisturizer for me really locks it in with the hydration, but it's the serum that's really going deeper. So I'm just letting you guys know that.
Bridget Thompson, do you have a question?
Ja.
Go ahead.
Und zwar
Thank
noch
you.
mal ganz kurz, Christina sagte, dass sie mit den Produkten mal wechselt, und das war mir ein bisschen zu schnell, weil genau das interessiert mich. Ich habe auch Peptide und Reno und wüsste jetzt mal, weil sie sagt, sie will nicht so einen Automatismus haben. Habt ihr
Is
es
she
verstanden?
asking are you asking if, didn't understand every single thing you said.
She's asking if you're changing the routine of the products. And Roland, did I capture that all? Did she also ask
about the autoimmune and the
ingredients?
activation of the autoimmune disorder?
How are you changing the routine of the products when you're using it? She didn't hear you when you were talking about using Reno and then also using the
I'm
peptides.
switching up with the auto. Okay.
Good job
So
understanding the German.
I understand it. I just don't speak very so the answer is everyone's skin's different, but what you have to remember is your skin. So I want you to think of your skin as a living, breathing kind of person, right? Because your skin is like living and breathing, and you just have to remember this whole body, including your skin, is being attacked by pollution, by your viruses, bacteria, parasites, all of that, right? So what you have to do, and that's why there's different products within Root. And I think like in another year, we're all going to really understand this more. Your goal is to be smarter than a virus or a bacteria. Your goal is to be smarter than an autoimmune disorder, for example. So to do that, here's what I would say. When people ask me, when do I stop clean slate? I'm always like, you don't stop clean slate. Like clean slate is something I feel like everyone, if I could give that gift to everyone in the world, I would give that gift. I don't have the money to give it to everyone, but I would if I could. It's because your body has to clean. That being said, if you ask me, are there ever days I don't take clean slate? Yes, because in my mind, I want to give my body a chance to change up a little bit. Because when I worked with HIV and Hep C, what I kept seeing was these viruses would take over people's bodies. So if you can provide the body with vitamins, minerals, peptides, aminos, everything that's really causing the body to be smarter, then your body can be smarter than a virus or a host. That means you have to change it up a little bit. And I guess the way I need to explain that is when you work out, Patrick, you don't do the same workout every day, right?
Nope.
Now, you might get in the same number of reps, but you're doing it in a different way. That's what I was trying to explain to people. Like, here's my traditional routine, right? If you ask me on a given week, I'm using all the skincare products and I'm using the Root products. However, there might be a week that I say, I'm going to use 3 more Immune Defense Shield, and I'm going to use Reno today, and I'm not going to use the peptides, right? And the reason I would do that is because I want my skin to be so smart, and I want it to be able to switch things up. And I've always done that, just so everyone on the phone knows, because I understand the science of the body. I'm trying to get my body to trick anything that's around it. So if the body thinks, wait a minute, this person just got rid of a fundamental vitamin, peptide, mineral, it starts reacting in a different way. And so then if you take a couple of days and switch it and then go back to it, the body can actually accept it even more because it has a memory. You have like a memory of the skin, a memory of the organ, and that can cause your body to actually be smarter. It's kind of like saying, Patrick, have you ever taken a day off, or Dylan, from working out? Their answer is yes, because they know if they give their body a day of rest, then when they use it, it's going to be even better. That is really the case for me, for example, with Zero In. Zero In is something I like to use every day, but on a weekend, I might take a day not to use Zero In. The next day I use it, I feel like it works even better, right? So that's where it, and I also want to say this about Zero In. I'm getting off topic. You know, you guys know me by now. I'll go on to the next topic. Zero In is helping the neurotransmitters. It's supporting the neurotransmitters. And actually, you don't have to take it every day. Now, have you stopped taking it for 2 or 3 days? Are you going to notice a difference? Yes. For me, if I'm traveling, I have to have Zero In. But again, taking that day gives the body a chance to really recalibrate. I think the reason most scientists and companies don't talk about this is they're worried people will stop using the products. I personally think we have the best products out there, and not because they're me, but because I think we have the science, and I think that God is great, and we've had the opportunity to be, I have, so you guys are, and I don't look at it like I own it. I look at it like we have this and we've got to use it. But I do think sometimes you make this change, right? where you're not doing everything the exact same. Think of your life like the most beautiful thing you can ever see. And sometimes you want to change, right? But then go back to what you know is so important for your body to really thrive and be great and be beautiful. That's how I see it. It's hard.
Darf ich noch einmal kurz fragen? Meine Tochter hat dieses Ekzem so im Gesicht seit der Schwangerschaft und dem Stillen. Geht einfach nicht weg. Sie nimmt dann aber erstmal alles so und macht diesen Wechsel ein bisschen später. Sie nimmt jetzt erstmal alles. Ich weiß nicht, wie es im Moment heißt. Es geht über die Nase und an die Wangen, das Ekzem. Und
I think that for that particular instance that you for that particular instance, let me use an example. Like, let's say you have eczema or a rash or wrinkles everywhere. Again, I want to go back to Clean Slate. Remember what Clean Slate's doing, right? It's cleaning things out. Remember what Restore's doing. Restore's restoring it. The peptides are your foundation piece. So if you really want to deal with wrinkles and stuff, Give Me Back My Youth, for example, that's great on the inside of your body, but you need something else that's really going to penetrate. First, cleaning it, though, with something like Clean Slate is so significant. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough, because when people talk about Clean Slate, they're putting it in water, they're putting it in their tongue. Don't forget to use it on your skin. And don't forget to incorporate some of the products that you know are helping you feel better inside to the outside. Remember, everything we have at root can be used really both ways. So if you ask me, for example, if Heidi came to me and said, can I use Give Me Back My Youth, and can I use Immune Defense Shield if I uncap it on my skin? 100% yes, you can. I'm not using synthetics. I'm not using things that are harmful for your skin or your body. So just think of it like that. Just like with the animal products, let me tell you what happened on this last trip. We ran out of Relive grains. So Ted and I used anagreens on the trip for our stomach because we wanted to make sure that we were helping our stomach. Is it different from Relive? Yes, it is, because I used a lot of beets. Like, Joy, that's something you should take actually every once in a while. I'm using a lot of beets, a lot of things that are iron rich. So if people have issues like I do with my stomach, it's actually great to use the anagreens. And I'm switching it up, right? Because I know my body is going to need that for the body. Your skin, when you have eczema or you have wrinkles, guys, look at it like you're redoing it, and then be your own doctor. I say this all the time. You are the queen of your body. You are the king of your body. Don't just say it, believe it. And you guys are so smart. You're in so many of these meetings. You understand the science. You understand what's happening. Use your skin and your body as an example to show other people. Take before and after pictures. Don't just do what I say. Do what's best for your skin, and you're going to notice a difference. The peptides are producing a big difference in people's bodies. But don't forget the tools in your kit. It's like saying you're cooking for your family and you forget about salt and pepper. Don't forget about the salt and pepper. You got to use that, incorporate that too. Make this fun. Give me a story. Make me laugh, because I love it. Like, what brings me happiness is watching what you guys do that I never thought of. And I love it because I want to see something I haven't done that someone does a lot better. And I see it all the time in all of you all. So please share your stories. Do your how-to videos. You don't have to make a claim. Your beautiful faces, your energy on social media and on websites and on groups, it shows. Use that, because you guys have such bright lights. And it's so much better than what I can do. So tell your story. And I hope your story is different than Marina's. I hope your story is different than Alfred's. We all need, or Elise. Share the stories, or Marcus. They all need to be different. Let's share them. I will say this. The acne, for example, we know we have a lot of case studies, including my son, that Restore helps. It's because he uses Clean Slate and Restore. It's pulling it out, right? Somebody else may say Restore doesn't really help my skin as much, but they use Give Me Back My Youth and Relive as a mask, and they notice a difference. So really try this. This is your lives. You guys are the examples. I've explained the science. We're going to keep talking about it, but you guys need to show the examples to the world, because it won't happen with just me. It's going to happen through you all. I think we're done, Patrick. I would like to be a part of the contest and be able to give things away, because you know I love that. So what if we could come up with one? I would love to participate in that.
We know you love giving things away. Such a blessing. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. It's great to have you back.
Oh my gosh, it's good to be back. It was so good to see everyone, and it's good to be able to sleep at home for a few days. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Please, if you have any more questions, send them to science@therootbrands.com. Have a wonderful rest of your week.